Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Abigail, and here's her story. Hi, Ollie. I've been watching your videos on other people's stories for quite a while, and now I finally feel like I need to ask for your advice myself. I've been researching narcissism for some time now, and you are the only legit specialist on the topic. I tried talking to psychologists in my country about it, but they barely know what it is, and most of them believe it's just being obsessed. It's just people being obsessed with their appearance and nothing else, which sounds pretty harmless compared to the actual definition. The story goes like this. I grew up in a full family. I have an older sister. Everything's good on the surface. I was practically raised by my grandfather until I turned 8. He was my first best friend and still my hero. But a month after I turned 8, he died and my sister moved out to go to college. That's when my mom started actually spending time with me. Since that age, I would often find myself in conflicts I didn't even see coming. Almost theatrical scandals when she would storm into my room, yell at me until I start crying, then run out calling me weird, ungrateful, or mentally ill. Rinse, repeat for about 1.5 hours. She would often threaten me with suicide since I was little, which made me overly cautious for life. When I was 10, my sister got into a prestigious university after our parents paid a humongous tuition fee that we were barely able to afford, dropped out, and ran off from home with the guy she fell in love with. I was asked to deliver her letter of explanation to mom and dad, and at 10, I really didn't understand the impact. I felt like I was helping a princess in love, you know? And when I delivered her letter, all hell broke loose. The very next day, my mom greeted me with, you no longer have a sister," instead of good morning. And I was a kid. It was my mother telling me this. If one of my life's greatest authorities tells me family bonds aren't worth shit, then it must be true. It took me years to heal from that. My sister returned, everything was forgotten, and she married the guy she'd ran off with. And as I grew up, I became a lightning rod for my sister's bullshit. If she went out to parties as a teen, I was supposed to stay home and study. If she dated, I was supposed to forget about that for myself until she failed uni. I was supposed to enter until she failed uni. I was supposed to enter one and stay there. There was this subtle, do you see how much grief she's caused? You can't do that to us. Even though neither mom nor dad even said it out loud. Even when it was time to choose a university, I had two choices. A more prestigious one, but with tuition to pay, or an obscure smaller one that was willing to accept me and provide me with a scholarship and a dorm room. I knew I only had one obvious choice. Don't cause problems, don't cause expenses. And lucky them, I indeed have a personality of a quiet nerd, and I had no problems with their demands throughout my life. The thing that bothered me was that I had no other choice. I was just lucky to fit the mold they've created. And your sister. After I graduated, I found a job at a local TV station in one of the major cities. It was a tiny part-time thing, but it had a huge impact on me as a young woman. I realized I needed to look presentable. I learned to take care of myself, develop a sense of style more or less, invested in a dietitian's services, and became much better looking than I used to be. Nothing to write home about, as they say, but still a far cry from the girl I used to be. I earned most of my living as a translator, so I spend most of my time home alone. But I still somehow managed to meet a very nice guy who loves me dearly. When we decided to marry, I wanted us to just have a standard reception without any guests, just go to the local civil registry office, sign our marriage license, and be on our way. My parents were not particularly fond of my fiancé. The only reason, he's not rich. He's a regular guy. But hey, that's why I told him I didn't want a conventional wedding. But my mom's reaction was anything but predictable. She played her theatrical scandal performances for hours. The hours turned into days, and she would spew nasty and hateful things about me. Remember, some shameful childhood things I did angered her. I would call me mentally ill and add something like I shouldn't have given birth to a psycho. All in front of my fiancé as we were staying with my parents for a week. They invited us. Turned out she wanted to throw a regular wedding with relatives, a venue, a wedding photographer, the whole shebang. Because it's about her, not about you. Your wedding's not about you. It's about her. Everything about her and her as being a mother is about her. I caved in after she reduced me to the state of a distressed infant several times. That's when she emotionally tortures me until I literally start screaming, just screaming, and I'm not a screamer. Even in serious pain, I'd cry, but I won't make a sound. A bit of time passed after the wedding, and I found out I was pregnant. It was an accident, but after the initial shock, I started developing a bond with the future child. Again, my mom came out of the woodwork to turn my life into a living hell. I live in a different city, so she would call or text every single day and throw a monstrous fit, telling how I will never be a good mother, how my husband can't be trusted, and how this baby will literally bury me alive by ruining my career, or how my husband would leave me for someone else once I had the child. Then, when that tactic wasn't effective enough, she started the good old, I will die, you will kill me with this baby. I can't sleep, my blood pressure is so high now. How can you be so cruel, blah, blah, blah. And just give a full picture, every fit now lasts for 2 hours of her bawling out at me until I'm completely ruined and my head's ringing, which is why I had to start working on my translations at night. When she couldn't get to me, then sleep for an hour or two, and then bawling began all over again. Well, where's your husband during all this? At some point, he should have stepped in and said, enough of this. When my family, my mother and father started attacking my ex-wife when she was pregnant, that was a red line for me. At the end of the first week, when my sister chimed in to support her opinion 100%, I developed so much hatred for them, for myself, and for this child that I caved in and agreed to have an abortion. What? It's because you have to have an abortion before 20 weeks in Europe, anywhere other than the fucking United States. I was 3 to 4 weeks pregnant, so my mom, who's a nurse, asked her gynecologist friend to secretly give her the abortion pills so she could give them to me at home. And even though I could hear the relief in her voice on the phone when I told her I wanted an abortion, she made sure to cause a grieving mother tortured by her ungrateful daughter scene in front of all her hospital friends and tell me how I should be grateful she used her connections to keep this abortion off my medical history, which I really didn't care about. Abortion is an abortion. I had it. It's my fault, and I'm not going to try to hide this. I should never be forgiven for what I've done, and accepting my guilt is the best remedy I've come across. I have yet to talk to a woman on my channel who's had an abortion that hasn't regretted it. I mean, you're married and your mother forced you into an abortion? That is the sickest thing, I think, one of the sickest things I've heard. There's a sociopathy that goes on in Europe that has been going on that really needs to be gotten in deeper. And I'm probably going to address it in a video about, the royal wedding that somebody wants me to do. I had to go to my parents' house to take the abortion pills. I mean, these abortion, I know. So you have the abortion in your toilet? I mean, come on. Look, I've been through a pregnancy with my own kid. I've seen sonogram. I've seen it all at 10, 11 weeks. You're not going to tell me what that is and what that is. I'm not blaming you. And your mother's a nurse? It's just, what a sociopath. Fucking sociopath. I had to go to my parents' house to take the abortion pills, and my mother couldn't help herself and threw another fit because I didn't hug her after I arrived. Your mother is a fucking child. Understand something. The fact that your grandfather raised you till you were 8 just shows what a fucking selfish, sociopathic child your mother is. And who was seeing you as nothing but competition. And saw your child as nothing but competition to the point where she had you kill it. Feminism, man. Where was your husband during all this? Did you even tell him? Sorry, I wasn't really happy to see someone who had been torturing me for days before that. And before I went there, I had to tell my husband I miscarried. Oh my God, you lied to your husband. Coaching from my mom, so during the fit, she threatened not to give me the pills, knowing I'd have to go back and tell him I lied. You should have just fucking walked out at that point. God damn it. She knew there was no going back for me. I know I should have told the truth from the start. But he saw what was going on all that time. He heard her calls and he did nothing. His parents accepted the news equally as cold, and that was really the last nail in the coffin. Literally. I just wanted it all to end. In the end, she gave me the pills, and even though she kept telling me it didn't have a heart yet, which was technically true, I still feel like I took a knife to my child's crib and stabbed the life out of him. It didn't have a heart. Neither do I now. I'm extremely ashamed of myself. After I did this, I had to be put on antidepressant treatment, which is my 3rd psychotherapist treatment, and I'm just 27. I went practically no contact with my mother and sister for 4 to 5 months, barely even talking to them. My mom would try getting to me, telling me how I'm being dramatic over nothing. Yeah, nothing. Another baby boomer psychopath, huh? That's what the baby boomers have brought into, that life means nothing. You're 27, so your mother has to be a baby boomer. One day she'll be all caring and telling me how she understands she shouldn't have pushed me to this limit. The next day she'll be yelling about me being ungrateful, because you have to remember, she doesn't let the pesky abortion record go into my patient history, a favor I never asked for. Then again, rinse and repeat. Because she has deniability, because she's the one who forced it. She can deny it ever fucking happened now. So not only did you let her kill your fucking child, you let her deny fucking responsibility. All the while acting like she's doing you a favor. They never miss an opportunity. This is the lack of humanity that the baby boomer generation has delivered us to. This is where we're at. A nurse, a medically trained woman who knows fucking better, knows what they're doing. My sister was on her side the whole time. She became mom's golden child after her husband and her green card to the States years ago, where she had a child, divorced her husband, is happily leeching off his income to be a free spirit. I hate that expression so much. I have never met anyone who'd refer to themselves like that and would not be an irresponsible, narcissistic prick. Our parents invited my husband, who they blame for the abortion for some reason and consider a grade A manipulator, and me to come over for Easter. We went there together, even though my sister bombarded me with messages about how I shouldn't bring him there because it would just traumatize the parents. Everything went well. My mom and husband were besties. Now we talk more or less regularly, and I was starting to forgive them for all this shit. But then a thing happened, a thing I still cannot comprehend to this day. On April Fool's Day, my sister decided it would be a nice little prank to call mom and tell her she was expecting a baby from her black baby daddy and that they're happy together. My own sister, knowing perfectly well I had an abortion because our mom couldn't stand the idea of me having a baby, my sister, a divorced single mom who's sitting in a rented apartment unemployed, thought it would be a good idea to call mom and tell her something like that. The double whammy is we live in a traditionalist, obscure European country. We never had black people living here until the end of the 20th century, and our parents can't accept a black dude dating their daughter. It's like dating an avatar. It's too unusual for them. And my sister just loves trolling them by sending them pictures of her black boyfriends. Yes, there are several of those. And in that whole situation, she didn't even think twice about playing this prank. And I was effing wondering why mom called me to throw a fit about me apparently thinking she's a bad mother out of nowhere that day. I don't know. Why did your mother basically blame you for delivering the letter? The cherry on the crap sundae was mom's reaction to the prank. She told my sister that dad and her were happy for her, then called me to just yell at me. Why am I, an employed, healthy, married woman, less worthy of having a child than a divorced, unemployed, single mother? Even if my damn life depended on it, I would not be able to interpret this reaction. Because you're always going to be the black sheep, no matter what. No matter what the situation, you're the black sheep, no matter what. This is what you're still not fucking grasping. This is why you should have cut them all out years ago. Because the situation's never going to change in your life. It doesn't matter what you do compared to... The rules don't apply to you. That's Narcissism 101. The rules that apply to them don't apply to you. It's not a fair system. It's not meant to be a fair system. That's the point of it. You are there to take all the shit that flows downstream. That is your fucking purpose. I don't know how you would look at this woman after having her kill your child. Any of them. This incident stopped any forgiveness I had dead on its tracks. One of my mother's reasons was that I needed to be more suitable, I needed a more suitable, red or wealthy husband. She has been visiting all sorts of bullshit clairvoyants all my life, and they tell her I'm supposed to become rich, so she can't accept my happiness now, the way it is, because that I'm more of a looker. I dropped 40 pounds I've been carrying around since age 12 to 13. She thinks I should chase a bigger wallet. Well, because she thinks with her vagina. Another one who thinks with her vagina. Most of these baby boomer women think with their pussies. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. I mean, this is what happens when her fucking pussy is telling her you need to destroy your... That's vagina competition right there, having her kill your child. Competes with her own daughter. It never stops. They never stop competing. My sister even had the audacity to seriously suggest creating a profile of a bunch of mail order bride sites to find me a rich doctor with a house in Hawaii so I could come some spent summer there. Yeah, a divorcee wants me to leech off a rich old guy because she needs a free guest house. I laughed it off, but internally it took all my strength not to tell her to fuck off. And I could never scold my sister or mother. They always will, always guilt trip me and turn it 180 degrees and make me feel like I'm the bad guy. So I just remain neutral, laugh it off, and try talking to them both as rarely as I can. My husband barely knows about this whole thing. He's a nice man, but he's a bit gullible. And if he finds out, he will start a war with my parents, and a war with people like them will end with both of our lives ruined. Even though my mom can't get me here in a different city, her and dad live in a resort town, and she's already managed to jam herself into the lives of my colleagues who came there for a vacation. They called me after she scared them by showing up at their bungalow with girts and praises for how they helped my career at the TV station, which is bullshit. I work my head off there. They pay me pennies, and I never ask for anyone's help. You know what? You need to be clear with these fucking people. Stay away from that woman. She's fucking evil. I'm telling you to stay away. You need to start standing up for yourself. You need to come clean with your husband. You need to come clean with him and say, this is what's going on. I need your help because I can't fight this on my own. What, are you just going to let this woman get in everybody's life who you know and can manipulate you that way? You need to take this head on. You need to cut her out of your life, and you need to make it clear to anybody in your life, anybody who has anything to do with anybody in my family will have nothing to do with me. Period. End statement. Full stop. The bitch made me have a fucking abortion and lie about it to my husband. You need to be honest with your husband about that. I am sorry. You need to tell him the truth. The reason your mother's making you feel guilty is because you're carrying this guilt. Because you do feel guilty about this with your husband. Don't confuse the guilt the legitimate guilt you should have towards your husband with the guilt that your mother and sister are putting on you. Don't think that they're not using that to keep you fucking quiet, because they are. Understand the main goal of the narcissist is to keep you quiet. The purpose of the control is silence. And mom isn't even proud of me working there. She hates to discuss it with her friends because I don't earn much at this job. Stop telling her your business. Stop telling her anything to begin with. This theatrical bullshit and constant attempts to force an entitlement, you need a rich guy, princess crown on my head, are relentless. One day she's glad I'm married. The next day she says something like, I wish my mother made me divorce your father when your sister was younger. I'd appreciate that. As if I should be effing losing my shoes while running to the divorce court. Not to mention her complete ignorance of the fact that she's talking to a child that wouldn't have been born in that little scenario. I don't know what's going on with her and my sister. Are they narcs, borderline? I wish I could go no contact. But she has dad as a flying monkey. She knows I won't cut him away. And after the shit he did to me when I was 10, I can't break family bonds like she did. I don't want anyone to feel what that was like. What do I do at this point? Sorry for the long letter and the rambling. I did my best to provide a full picture of this whole shitstorm. Thank you so much for educating people on the dangers of narcissistic abuse, and many people should know about it. Your knowledge saves lives. Best regards, Abigail. Abigail, your father's a fuck knuckle, okay? Your father's a fuck knuckle pussy. He's just as responsible as your mother. Okay? Your whole family's got you fucking bullshitted into silence. Are they narcs? Yeah, they're narcs. And they're borderline. Yeah. Borderline? Yeah. Dangerous. Monsters. Killed your own child. And made you think she's doing you a fucking favor. And why? So she can deny it. So off your medical record, I'm doing you a favor. No, all you're doing is covering your own ass. So you can fucking deny this. Deny it to your husband. Deny it. The guilt you feel is not for them. The guilt you feel is for what you did to your husband and your child. You're confusing guilt, and your narcissistic family is using that against you. All of it. The only answer for you, Abigail, is to cut them all out completely. And anybody who has anything to do with it, completely. You will not feel any better. Okay? A before no contact. Obviously, nothing ever gets better without no contact. But even before A, call it pre-A, you got to come clean with your husband. You have to. Otherwise, your family will be able to use this guilt against you forever. And the chips may fall where they may with your husband. You're going to have to deal with that. But as far as you're concerned and your own mental health and you're having control over your own life, none of it's going to change until you come clean. And when you come clean with your husband, that's going to take away their massive weapon they've been using against you, turning the guilt against you. They've guilted you into silence and your mother's plausible deniability, making you think she's done you a favor. Your mother and sister think with their pussies. They control their life to the extreme degree. They got borderline vaginas, which is even more dangerous. And your father, who's allowed it to happen, is just as responsible. He gets even less mercy because he should know better. So, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and your story, Abigail. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. Fucking baby boomers, man. Fucking baby boomers. And if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it successful, growing, and expanding, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys. Without you guys, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance.